And thank you, Minister, for coming to the Shannon this morning. And last year, Minister, you included Dublin 7's wholesale fruit and vegetable market in the more than €121 million of urban regeneration funding that you allocated to Dublin's North Inner City. We greatly appreciate it. I've asked you to come to the Shannon today, Minister, so that you can update the House on Dublin City Council's progress on using the funding that you've provided them to reopen the fruit and vegetable market. And I suppose, Minister, for you to maybe advise the House on how your department can support Dublin City Council to achieve an early reopening of that market. You'll be aware the Dublin 7's fruit and vegetable market, it's a Victorian building. It's located in one of the oldest parts of the city. The streets there date back to medieval times. It's located just behind the forecourts. It's about 1 kilometre from the Spire to Smithfield. It's right there in the middle. It's served by the Lewis. It's within walking distance of all major attractions in the city centre. And the iconic building, it's red brick, it's wrought iron, wood and steel. It really is an iconic building. It was purpose-built back in 1892 by Dublin Corporation to allow local producers to serve the city residents and businesses and to sell their fruit and vegetable. For generations and for most of my life, Minister, that market was bustling with activity. You know it yourself. It is a quintessentially and unique Dublin institution. The building itself, the activity there, the generations of families that traded in that market. But dating back since almost over 20 years ago now, back 2001, 2002, Dublin City Council came up with a framework for redevelopment of the market. In 2005, the adjacent fish market was demolished and it's been replaced by a car park. When I was elected myself to City Council in 2004, I worked with the traders and the officials to have the market building upgraded, rewired, the roof repainted and the roof replaced and repainted. There was quite a significant amount of funding went in at that time. But sadly, since 2019, it's lying vacant. Dublin City Council said they needed vacant possession. It's lying vacant. It's really a shame. Apart from one pop-up Chinese New Year festival that was held there, it was used it was rented out for a builder's yard, actually. It's empty. It's really, really shameful. The design of the building is spectacular, but the building has endless potential, not just as a food market, but also as a cultural space, as a performance space. It has enormous potential to act as a culinary, a cultural, a commercial and a community point right in the city centre. So, Minister, I'm hoping that you can advise the House today on what progress Dublin City Council is making, because the latest report from them has indicated it'll be another 2 years. Another 2 years doesn't sound like a long time, but in the context of more than 20 years already talking about this, it's really unacceptable. It's really demotivating for other businesses in the area, for the local community, but for the wider city. So, Minister, I'm hoping you can advise the House on what actions your department can support Dublin City Council with to actually reopen it. Ideally, I think it should be reopened at least on a pilot basis once a week. It's a huge space. Conservation works could take place in parallel. Minister, I look forward to your reply. Goramagat.
Minister, you have 4 minutes to respond. You're very welcome.
Thank you, Ciara, and can I thank Senator Fitzpatrick for her ongoing interest in this and indeed for tabling this important commencement matter. I actually visited the markets with Senator Fitzpatrick not so long ago. I'm acutely aware of them. I was there when I was a lot younger, when they were a bustling place that was full of life, full of enterprise, and a really important part of our North Inner City. Just by way of a little bit of background, obviously the Urban Regeneration and Development Fund is actually a cornerstone of the government's response to ensure that right across the country, no less so than here in Dublin, that we're actually providing funding to our local authorities directly to actually regenerate and rejuvenate areas exactly such as this, exactly like the Victorian fruit and veg markets in St Mary's Lane. Now, so far, government have committed €1.7 billion. So it's €1.7 billion of exchequer funding to move forward with projects. And I've had the pleasure of actually seeing in a number of areas, like in Kilkenny, like in Tralee, in Limerick, right the way across the country, where this money is already being drawn down and being used to deliver really significant regeneration works that are driving actually enterprise in those areas. In Kilkenny, for example, Senator, We have now the Abbey Quarter there, which is now going to 450 new jobs in that space. I want to see Dublin City Council do the same, and we have allocated to DCC in call one about €190 million for projects in the North Inner City. I have sought an update from Dublin City Council, and they inform me that they're developing the preliminary business case for the North Inner City Concept Area 1 project in line with requirements. And I am being told I will receive that in the coming weeks. Now, I want that in the coming weeks, and what I'm saying in coming weeks should be by the end of July. And if I need to sit down and meet the City Council in this regard with yourself, I will certainly do that. Specifically about St Mary's Lane in Dublin 7, it's a sub-project of the larger urban regeneration project, and a very significant investment in the rejuvenation of Dublin's North Inner City. And with your support and insistence as well, and rightly so, we allocated €5.625 million specifically for the Victorian Fruit and Veg sub-project. I am informed that the Council have now appointed a conservation specialist, which is good, who will identify the works methodology, specifications for refurbishment and conservation work, because it's a very important building, no question. And that will ensure that we have the highest standard of protection for the structure. Again, I'm being told that this report is due in the coming weeks, but I want to see definitive timelines on this, definitive timelines, not ones that are open to interpretation. On completion of the report, the Council will then procure a design team and a contractor to complete the conservation works. And I want to say very, very clearly to you here, Senator, and to you, Cathaoirleach, in the Senate, that I am strongly encouraging Dublin City Council to expedite the process here. They've appointed the conservation specialist. Let's see how quickly that work can be done, because there have been previous plans here. We don't need to reinvent the wheel on this. I want to see that area of Dublin, and the markets in particular, be a living, working space that's full of life and that will breathe life into that area. So I'm taking a personal interest in this particular project, because with DCC, with the monies that we have allocated, which are very, very significant, I want to see those monies drawn down and being put to active use, like I'm seeing in other parts of the country.
Minister, thank you very much.
Gurmagad Cathaoirleach and Gurmagad Ara, your commitment to the North Inner City really is unquestionable. It has been spectacular that since you took office, the more than 120 million that you have dedicated to just this part of the North Inner City, that those funds will be used not just for the fruit and vegetable market, but Moore Street, Wolfetown Square has been, Dublin City Council have done a fantastic job there, Mountjoy Square, and the City Library we need to see delivered as well. Minister, I hear your frustration, I share it, and I have to tell you, locally, people are really, really at their wits' end, because it is more than 20 years that Dublin City Council have been bringing forward plans for what, to the naked eye, is a purpose-built building that really is fit for use. I would welcome, I appreciate they've given you a commitment that you will get a report within the coming weeks. I'd really welcome if we could have a meeting on site with Dublin City Council, because I have to believe that with the collective will and energy and the resources that are being applied to this, we have an opportunity to reopen it early, maybe not fully, not 7 days a week, but let's aim to have it opened at least once a week and start it as a pilot. We have to make people believe that Dublin City Council is serious about reopening it. And at this point, after more than 20 years, there isn't that confidence. It hurts me to say this, but there isn't the confidence that Dublin City Council is serious about delivering it. And we know that's not the case, so let's make it real. Gurmagad.
Thank you, Senator. Minister, and just before I call you there, Minister, I've been to Limerick and I've seen it, and I look at Covent Garden in London and I see the potential. So thanks for this very detailed response.
Well, Cathaoirleach, thank you, and you're 100% correct. I've been in the buildings with Senator Fitzpatrick. Thankfully, they're in good shape. So I remain to be convinced of the level of restoration work that's required to be able to bring these markets back into use. You look at the English market in Cork, you look at El Nacional in Barcelona, others, you see what they add to the area, and I have no doubt whatsoever that that the fruit and veg markets will be incredibly popular with people and will be a hub for enterprise, but also for community. What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to seek a more detailed, concise report from the City Council following your intervention, Senator Fitzpatrick, with specific dates on it. And I will absolutely commit to a meeting on site with yourself and senior officials to move this forward, because we know what needs to be done here. I think even if we can on a temporary basis, if it doesn't impinge on the works that need to be done, to look at opening it up at various times. I want to see this work start. I know there's a process to follow through, and I commend DCC for the work that they've done heretofore. But I do share the frustration of yourself, Senator, and indeed of residents in the area. And I think working together, my own department with DCC and yourself, we can look to expedite this process. So following this commencement debate at Caherly, I will be writing to the City Manager and I will seek a meeting on site in the coming weeks, and I will seek a more concise report with specific timelines on delivery. I do not want to see the markets delayed opening to 2024. So we need to be able to do everything we can to shorten that time frame, and that's what I want to do. So I want to thank you again, Senator, for your continued support with regard to this project on behalf of Dublin, on behalf of your constituents in the North Inner City as well, and we'll follow up with those meetings in the coming weeks.
Thank you very much, Minister.